So here we are. Today is Wednesday. We're supposed to be leaving Carina Station, but it doesn't look like we'll be able to get out because it has been raining most of the night. And they've had 13 mil of rain and the road's a little impassable. There's lots of water laying around. So, and their driveway is quite clayey, so yeah, looks like we're stuck here for another night, possibly. Well, depending whether it clears today and dries up enough. Temperature's supposed to be 37, Lightning Ridge. So we'll see what happens. We'll bring you some more updates a little later on.
Alright, so the situation is, as you heard from Tam before, is that overnight basically had an unexpected 13 mil of rain here in Lightning Ridge. Because we're on a station stay, and we're actually on dirt road in, and also the driveway in is dirt and gets chewed up pretty quickly. So 7:30 this morning, got a message from Jacinda, who's the owner of the property, and basically just saying that looks like any form of towing out or towing a van out today is a no-go. And so yeah, we'll sit and wait and see. It's starting to clear up, so you know, if I turn around and look out there, there's a bit of blue sky and whatever else. It's still supposed to be 32 degrees today, but it just depends on what's coming. Our biggest issue is that the radar that's to the west of us, which is where all the weather's coming from, I think it's Birrawina radar, isn't working. The Bureau have got it on their website that isn't working, so we can actually see the rain coming and from the radar, but all we can see is clouds in the distance. But yeah, so it is what it is. That's the nature of basically staying off grid and in places where it's dirt and muddy. But you know, the main thing for us is that we don't want to churn up their driveway into the property, and and certainly the road on the way out is reasonably hideous. It's not just a standard flat dirt road. It's actually got quite a large hump in the middle of it, which means that and it's fairly muddy, so it would be fairly muddy in the rain. So it just means that towing the van out is that it's either you're going to be sitting in the gutter, which is not a good place to be, or staying on the hump isn't going to be easy, especially if it's slippery. So we may be better off just sitting put, or staying put until we get the word from Jacinda that it's right to go. She's apparently got to take the kids out to school, so she's going to suss out what the road's like. But it usually doesn't take long for roads to dry out up here, depending on what they are. So, but I guess we'll wait and see. But we probably may not be getting to our next destination, which was at Parks today. But I guess we'll wait and see and hope that we get enough solar. We've only got 200 amp hours of lithium, so we're down to I think about 60% now. But if it cleared up a bit, we might be all right, and might be able to get a bit in. But we'll get most of the van packed up, ready to go, and maybe hooked up to the car. So at least that way, if we get a window of opportunity, we may be able to make a run for it. See what happens. Well, we're getting a little bit of sunshine, so that's a good start.
Still looks very ominous over in the distance.
It does still look very dark and gloomy, but most of the weather is moving across that way slowly, but it's still very dark over that way. So that is the current state of the driveway. So yeah, it doesn't look good, and certainly don't want to churn that up any more than we need to. Tam trying to negotiate her way through the mud. Oh, there was opportunity. No. Slowly picking up a bit of weight.
The road out looks alright.
You reckon? Have a look at the tyre tracks down there. Now, while the driveway on the right looks to be in good nick, it was incredibly soft underfoot. The one on the left was the normal one they use, and although it was a little bit more chopped up, it definitely had a more solid base. As you get out towards the road, you can see where a car has lost traction and gone sideways. Given that this was their personal driveway and also the fact that the road had been marked as closed, there was no choice but to sit tight and wait for permission to drive out. Having the drone though really gave us the opportunity to have a good look early. It also gave us the opportunity to look at the conditions of the road further up. So that's the road. It actually does get worse around the corner. And you can see that they've already had fun getting out of the driveway. And that's just a car taking kids to school.
Bloody city slickers.
I don't want your muddy hand, nah. You can have your muddy hand. To there. I'm sure they'll be fine. There you go. This water was flowing off the paddock onto the driveway, so it wasn't drying out for a while. Well, at least someone loves the water. Now it's getting seriously wet when the dog sits in a tree. Although his focus at the moment is Kitty. So while we've been waiting for the weather to clear and things to dry out, so our biggest issue is, so our little van, so MDC XT14E, so it has 200 amp hour lithium battery. We've got on the roof about 525 watts of solar, which is generally pretty good, but we are running the Starlink. Now I run that off a 12 volt system, so it's actually, which I got installed inside, which I might show you while we're standing around doing nothing. And Tam's just distracting me because she's gone to the car and got the snakes out of the car.
I'm bored.
She's bored. But our issue was we were down to 68% overnight, so we were back up to 100 yesterday, but down to 68% overnight. So we're not really getting much solar now. So we were, from our solar panels, we were getting about, I don't know, about 3-4 amps, maybe. Yes, we've still got Starlink running, but Starlink itself, off the 12 volt system, uses about 4 amps. So, which is completely different to what it would be if I was running it off the inverter. So it's quite a good little system, fairly energy efficient system. But with the fridge running, of course, and the Starlink running, it's kind of, we're getting about, I don't know, between 3 and 4 amps in, which is not a lot when we're down to 68%. So we need to get that back up. So I have actually just put in, so I did put these vans don't come with external as like solar panel input, so I wired one of them on before we actually came up. So I've now got my solar panel, external solar panel on the ground there, which now plugs into the side of the van. So that gives me about another 5 amps thereabouts, and so that'll get it up a little bit more. So it's only a 200 watt solar panel, so it gives me, I think, about 9 amps overall. I don't know, I'm not an electrician, you do the math if you are, but yeah, other than that, with the skies that we've got, very little solar coming in and keeping everything running and trying to keep us amused. But so I've plugged the car back in now, just to, so I backed the car up, just plugged it in to be able to get a little bit more power back into the battery. So now with the car plugged in, I've got 37 amps going in, we're up to 71% already, and the battery will be full in about an hour and 36. So yeah, so I don't know whether you can see that there, that's the projector app that you have on your phone. Now, I did do some modifications to this van. When we first got it, it was fully decked out with projector system. Now, yeah, I don't know, some people say projector are really good. We're certainly not affiliated with them or whatever else, but what we found was that the electrical system was woeful, just wasn't keeping up at all. And even on a bright sunny day with 525 watts of solar on the roof, a 25 amp BCDC charger in there, it wasn't even getting close to getting back to 100%. Beautiful clear day, no cloud, no shade. We'd only be back to about 80% by the end of the day if we got it down to about 50. So we ended up ripping the projector BCDC charger out and put a red arc 40 amp in, and now we're pretty much smashing it. So, you know, on a clear day with no cloud, we can be back up to 100% within 2 hours, 3 hours, and that's without connecting the car. So it's generally pretty good. Day like today though, yeah, look, it's probably, with Starlink running and the fridge running, it's struggling a little bit, but you know, that's what it is, you know, with a 200 amp hour lithium battery. The thing does what we need it to do. You know, Starlink was running all night. We had that running because we've pretty much got no communications here. So it's nice just to have that running in case, yeah, our kids need to contact us or whatever. I might take you inside and I'll show you the Starlink system that we put in. Okay, so inside here, so like I say, our Starlink, we've got running on a 12 volt system, which is far better and far more power efficient than what it is to run the inverter and the actual Starlink router. So we've got Gen 2, which is the original system, which has the separate router, and then the dish, of course. So I looked up online, found the EDUP system, which is a Starlink, kind of a Starlink system that, you know, it's a third-party thing. So basically runs off 12 volt, you wire it straight in, and it does everything that your Starlink router should do. It controls the dish and all that sort of thing, and you essentially then just plug in a little 12 volt router, which then does the work and creates the Wi-Fi for you. So under our seat here, sorry about that, it's a little bit mass of wires here. So that's the system there. So basically, yeah, wired in. I've hardwired it into a switch. So the switch itself sits up there. So just tucked down in the corner. So that basically turns that unit on. The instant we pull up, if we pull up somewhere and put the dish out, basically face it towards south to a certain extent. Once you turn the system on and it boots up, it automatically takes control of the dish and does everything it needs to do. So the yellow cable there, oh, knocked the light over. The yellow cable there is of course the data cable. The grey cable is the one that coming in from the dish itself, and there's your other wiring there, which is your positive and negative. It's a little bit messy, so sorry about that, but Yep, that's how it is. So this data cable is the one that feeds out to our little 12 volt router, which basically sits up there. Got a little bit of tape on the light just to dull that down. Thinking about moving that. So that's 12 volt router plugged in USB-C, and that essentially is what what is creating the Wi-Fi and all that sort of stuff for us, and runs our Starlink. Like I say, once I turn it on, basically it's about a 4 amp draw on the battery, which is bugger all, considering that if I was running the Starlink router and the inverter, I'd probably be looking at close to maybe 15, 16 amp or more. So I haven't actually tried it in this, but from all accounts, from what I'm hearing with those particular routers, Starlink routers, etc., it's a fairly big draw on the battery, and people are having trouble with it. But look, the Gen 3 is out now. There's Starlink Mini and all sorts of things. So which runs on 12 volt, which is probably possibly even better. But this system at the moment is running perfect for us, and we'll keep doing it, and we keep running the cable out the window or out the top hatch. We've actually been putting our Starlink dish on the roof out through the top hatch, which has been great. Been a lot of people that have had their dishes run over and all sort of thing in caravan parks or wherever else. So, I don't know, if you got clear skies, why wouldn't you just put it on the roof up through your top hatch and be done with it? But certainly works for us, and that's what we're doing internet-wise, and keeps us connected while we're well and truly off-grid.
So it's 5:20 in the afternoon of Wednesday, and we went for a quick drive out onto the road to make sure that it was dry enough to get out of here, because they're expecting more thunderstorms predicted tomorrow, and if we get stuck here another day, we're not going to make it back to work. So so we're just finalising the pack up, and then we're going to head probably just to the caravan park and see how we go, because it's so late in the afternoon.
After doing a quick test drive, I was pretty confident that it was dry enough to tow out on. There were still a few muddy sections, especially in the driveway, but after a chat with the owners, they were pretty happy for us to head out. Carefully picking the right line and trying not to tune up their driveway too much more, we eventually made it to the worst bit at the end of the driveway near the road. Trying to keep a little but not too much momentum, we made the turn with the slightest bit of wheel spin. Once out on the road, it was quite deceiving. It was very firm to drive on, with only the odd spot that was still soft and slippery. In some places, it was even dusty.
So, Fangio over here.
Note to self, when you're hitting puddles of water, make sure your window's up.
Got a little wet inside.
I got it halfway up, but
Forgot to press the rest of the button.
Running in.
Before long, we were back on the blacktop and headed into town. Thanks Carina Station for a great stay.
Alright, so this is our scenario. We've managed to make it out of Carina Station, and it was dried out enough for us to get out, but it was pretty muddy on the way out.
Bit soggy.
But we've made it out, which is good. But our issue now is that we're now in Lightning Ridge. Most of the caravan parks are closed. It's just on 6 o'clock,
and so we're now hoping that we're going to get a powered site at the caravan park behind the BP, which is, and I can tell you which one it is a Lightning Ridge Holiday Park. So apparently Shelby's coming down to meet us. So hopefully we can check in here for the night. It's too late to travel any further now. So we thought, well, bugger it, we'll just spend the night here and head off in the morning. It's been a long day just waiting for it to dry out enough that we could get out, because the road was actually closed. It had a road closed sign across it. So when we came out, but we wanted to get out before any more rain hit. Otherwise we'd still be in there, and potentially more rain tonight, then we're going to be stuck there tomorrow as well. So we'll hopefully get checked in here and see how we go. So we managed to get us a site here at Caravan Park, which is good, and yeah, it was nice of them to come down and open up. So we're on a powered site here at the Lightning Ridge Holiday Park, I think it is. So yeah, it's a nice drive-through site. So it'll do.
Really.
Well,
it's not really a drive-through site.
Well, it's not really a drive-through site, but because we've got to get late, there's no one else coming in. So she said just
Lightning Ridge Holiday.
basically find your own site, and yeah, if you want to just drive through one, then that's fine. Next morning, we were up early and hit the roads towards parks. Clearly it was a day to move your oversized loads. One critical thing when travelling these roads, especially towing a van, is the need to have a good UHF radio. The pilot vehicles in front would give you a call and they'd let you know how wide the load was to give you a chance to move off to the side. Oh, g'day everyone, we have hightailed it south, made it out of Lightning Ridge, and we've come all the way down to parks. So we are now staying at a hip camp called Wendouree Park, and it's kind of just out of parks, which is quite nice. Not sure how much it is, but it's basically a paddock, but it's been beautifully mowed. It's alongside kind of a creek, I guess. It's over there somewhere in the long grass, but Tam's just trying out the swing there on the branch. There's a fireplace, some firewood, and so you can see the creek runs around the back there in amongst that long grass down there. So I'm sure that there's Joe Blakes around, but you know, we'll keep watch out for that. But yeah, there's plenty of room here. We're only here for one night. We were supposed to be here for 2 nights, but because we got held up in Lightning Ridge and couldn't get out of our last camp, we're only spending 1 night here. And so what we'll do is stay tonight here, get up early. We're going to shoot out to the observatory, or where the parks where the dish is, and have a look around out there. And then head to our next camp. So it's a quick stay over tonight, but nothing much we can do about it. So plans are for Narandra tomorrow night, and then home, unfortunately. So yeah, that's pretty much it for our 3-week trip. But it could be an interesting night tonight, because looking at the weather radar, there are huge storms coming across from Broken Hill, basically straight towards us at the moment. So yeah, let's see what happens. We are assured by the property owner that the ground's pretty solid and unlikely to flood at all, and yeah, so we should be right getting out. We shouldn't have the same problem we had at getting out of Lightning Ridge. But I think Tam's looking it up on the radar, but I'll drop a video in of the, not sure whether you can see that in the video, but yeah, it's looking pretty nasty coming across. So
The little blue dot is where we are, and the rain.
There's a lot of rain and a lot of lightning coming over.
Coming across.
So we've batten down the hatches. We got the anti-flap kit on the awning. I got 3 ropes on the awning just to hold it down. Got it pegged well and truly into the ground. So we'll wait and see how it goes. But yeah, other than that, not a lot else happening tonight. Other than sitting around enjoying a drink and yeah, head out to Parks in the morning, out to the dish in the morning. So we'll see you in the morning. So it is just after 2 o'clock in the morning, and we've just looked at the radar and we've decided that it's not such a good idea to stay where we are now. So we've just had the biggest clap of thunder and lightning right next to us, or what seemed like right next to us. I'm kind of thankful that the GoPro was turned on to night lapse, so I'm hoping I actually caught that on the GoPro. But we are now packing up and we're going to move and head into town and pull up there, because we're not sure with the amount of rain that's now coming whether we'll get out of where we are. So yeah, the joys of free camping and finding these nice spots is getting out of them afterwards. So but anyhow, I'm still recovering from said lightning strike.
Terrified.
Yeah, so alright, we'll keep getting set up, or packed up, and we'll talk to you once we're in the car heading out.
Go high way on the top where he went. Is it soft?
No,
No?
just a low range to the top, and I'll put it up on the stands.
I'm sure he won't expect us to have gone in the middle of the night, but
Just given the amount of rain that's coming, and looks like it's going to rain for a
pretty
while.
heavily all night, or for the rest of the night anyway.
Yeah, you may well have had 48 mil already, but that's just 48 mil of softness that may add to. Knows when that lightning hit, but I'm keen to have a look on the GoPro to see where.
Yeah, tell me about it. Buy hip camp in Parks at
Yep.
2:45 in the morning.
3 in the morning.
It was a great spot, and you know, we'll definitely use it again. We're up this way. There's a lot of water down there.
There it is. Right. So we managed to find a spot in town, which is in Parks itself, which is basically at the dump point. There is just a long car park that's beside the road, beside one of the parks. So we've just pulled up there. Fancy that, a park in Parks. So we've pulled up there.
Not funny at 3
and
o'clock in the morning.
we're not going to put the roof up or anything. We're just basically, because we can basically get in the van and sleep anyway. So we'll stay here for the rest of the morning and and then move off in the morning, figure out what we do. Well, it is morning, but in a couple of hours time, I guess. So yeah, the joys. No.
No.